Whether it is today or tomorrow, we will not stop speaking until you either die or Palestine is free.
My name is Kasim Hafiz. I'm from Britain, from Nottingham. It's where I grew up, spent most of my life. And I was a radical extremist. You know, I was an anti-Israel activist, an anti-Semite, and now I'm quite proud to say I'm a Muslim Zionist. When I first got the email from Kufi about coming on this tour, I was intrigued initially. So I thought this could be an amazing way to really reach out to students about Israel.
אני אב גבריאל נדף מנצרת, ראש הקהילה היוונית אורתודוקסית. נולדתי בעיר נצרת, גדלתי במדינת ישראל. כמו כל צעיר שחי בתוך המגזר הערבי, המיעוט שחי במדינת ישראל, חינכו אותי על שנאת היהודים.
You know, as somebody living in America or Europe, why should we worry about the Middle East problems? Here's the problem. Israel isn't the Middle East issue. Israel is a global issue because Israel is our furthest outpost of democracy and freedom. There is nowhere in the region like Israel that is a free democracy which has freedom of press. Well, basically what defines an open society, an open Western democratic society, Israel is the only country in that region. Now, if we do not support it, if we do not work to strengthen it, those problems will come and hit us hard. And they already have. You know, you had 7/7 in London, you had 9/11 in America. My father was more strong in his views. He was out and out. You know, he'd say that Hitler was a great man and Hitler's one mistake was that he didn't kill enough Jews. So that's the kind of messages I grew up around.
I'm a Holocaust survivor. I was born in Czechoslovakia in 1929. Summer of 1939 comes along, and one morning I get up to walk over to the park where I'm going to play with my friends. And so my Christian friends go in. I can't because there is a sign, Jews and dogs are not permitted to enter. As a first grader, I developed a friendship with a young lady. And we became friends. I carried her books, did homework together, and all the stuff that kids do. So here it is 1940, and I'm carrying her books home. And one day she turns to me and she says, Irv, we can't do homework anymore together. I don't want you to carry my books anymore. I say, why? She says, because my father told me not to be so friendly with a Jew, because we'll be labeled as Jew lovers.
The turning point for me was going to Pakistan, because when I went to Pakistan, and I went to a very sleepy part of Pakistan, I mean, it's in the mountains, it's a tiny town, I came across this idea of violent extremism and violent jihad for the first time. And it was through a terrorist organisation called Lashkar-e-Taiba. For me, being, you know, a British Muslim, being someone who was pretty Western, it struck a chord with me because it literally put all the pieces together. You know, all the anti-Western and anti-Israel, anti-Semitic rhetoric I'd been hearing for years in the background was now kind of neatly packaged. So, you know, I was getting quite used to seeing, leaving the mosques on Fridays, images of dead children and people going, this is what Israel is doing, this is what happened to the Palestinians. So gradually you're brought into this way of thinking where you think you're a victim. You know, me, I lived quite a comfortable life. You know, I was free to practice my religion, state education, but you're made to think that you're a victim, so you're looking for a way to fight back almost. And here you have a group which are violent, murderous terrorists, but you think it's okay because you literally have this kind of, this wall of hatred that's built up over time. The use of imagery and propaganda. You're angry. You have who you want to direct your hatred to, but you don't find an outlet. And for me, this kind of extremism was the outlet for it.
המצב של הנוצרים היום בסוריה מצב מזעזע. יש רצח עם. המזרח התיכון בכלל כמעט מתרוקן מהנוצרים. במצרים גם. את הקופטים שם הנוצרים עוברים יום יום רדיפות. והרבה נוצרים מסוריה רוצים לברוח ולבוא לישראל. הרבה נוצרים פצועים וגם לא נוצרים רוצים להיכנס לישראל. והרבה פצועים נכנסו לבתי חולים במדינת ישראל ומטפלים בהם שם. על זה העולם שותק. אבל על כמה פרופגנדות שיוצאות ממדינת ישראל נגד המדינה, העולם קם וצועק שאין זכויות אדם, אבל זה לא נכון. לא נכון בכלל.
Number of campuses have something called the apartheid wall, an apartheid week, where they actually put a wall up on campus with posters which are lies. They then reenact. They have a number of people who are there walking around peacefully, and then down come people in uniform, the IDF uniform, who have wooden guns and fire guns, so to speak, firecrackers. People fall down and there's blood all over the place to show that Israel is nothing more than a violent country that wants to occupy the whole world. Now, all this wall has done is reduce the number of casualties in Israel because of terrorism. I mean, I ask people the following. If you live next door to someone, and every single day you get up in the morning and somebody throws a rock through the window, what will you do? You're going to simply put a board on the window. It's identically the same. You can talk to them and say, stop doing it, but they're not willing to.
I'm not doing enough. You know, I'm going to protests, I'm handing out leaflets. This isn't changing the situation. And it was at that point that I thought, okay, the best thing for me to do is use violence. And I thought I'll go back to Pakistan, go to a jihadist training camp and do whatever was required, you know, to fight back. Luckily for me, that didn't happen. I ended up coming across a book called The Case for Israel. And bear in mind, at this point, I thought I was an expert in the Middle East. I thought I knew everything that there was to know. And this book really challenged my beliefs. And I purchased the book purely out of arrogance, I'd say. It was this arrogance of wanting to disprove it. So I'm coming across these arguments which are contrary to everything I believe. So I set out to disprove it. It's pretty difficult to disprove the truth when it comes down to it. And not willing to accept it after 2 years, you know, what was meant to be a few days, a few weeks of activity to disprove this propaganda, I couldn't. So I got to this point where I wasn't willing to change my beliefs. You know, I find it difficult to go, I'm wrong. So I thought the only way to get some closure on this would be to go to Israel. The hope was that I'd be validating my old prejudices, but when I went to Israel, I saw something very, very different. Here I am in apartheid Israel, and look, the security officer was really nice and polite. And I spoke to people, I spoke to Druze, I spoke to Christians, I spoke to Muslims, I spoke to Jewish people. And the shocking thing about Israel is, people just get on. You know, you see Christian monks, you see Muslim women with headscarves, you see Hasidic Jews, and this was just like mind-blowing.
לכן אנחנו רוצים שיבואו למדינת ישראל ולראות מקרוב איך החיים שמה, איך אנחנו נהנים מהדמוקרטיה, איך אנחנו מסתובבים חופשי, מביעים את דעתנו חופשי, הולכים לאן שאנחנו רוצים, מתלבשים איך שאנחנו רוצים, מתפללים איפה ומתי שאנחנו רוצים, המוסלמים והנוצרים והדרוזים, כולם.
You heard the lies, an apartheid state. Go to Israel. See where the apartheid is. Look for the signs, Jews only, Christians only, Muslims only. Look for the signs. You're going to be there for 100 years, you won't find one. What you will find is at the University of Haifa, 22% of the student population is Muslim. That you will find. You'll find hospitals will take care of every single person who needs it. As a matter of fact, if a terrorist is wounded and not killed, they'll fix him up.
What has happened is there is propaganda was created against Israel. And you look at the propaganda, you even look at the posters sometimes, and they're very reminiscent of the posters that took place during the 30s and 40s in Germany. And you look at it and say, wait a minute, where does this come from?
The problem we have is that many people in the West have brought into this lie that if there was a Palestinian state, all would be good. I know from experience and from being part of that ideology, the problem isn't that a Palestinian state doesn't exist, the problem is that an Israeli Jewish democratic state does exist. So we all have a stake in that, because if Israel fails, that will just be the first step. That will be the first step in a very dangerous ideology, a very radical and extreme ideology coming closer to us. A strong Israel keeps those issues, those problems on the other side of that outpost.
As they very clearly stated, first we will take care of the little devil, Israel, and then we will take care of the big devil called America.
And I tell you all who live here, who are students here, you've got to do something. Because the lies have taken over. There are professors who stand up in front of classes and lie because they got a job, because they got a promotion.
And we must stand united to defeat, to destroy, to dismantle Israel, if possible by peaceful means. Perhaps like Salahuddin, we will give them enough food and water to travel back to the land from where they came to occupy our people. There's no question of just removing the settlements. These settlements are only the tentacles of the devil.
We are in bad trouble. Our civilization is in bad trouble because remember, Israel is only the small devil. We are the big devils. We are the ones who are the little targets.
You know, radical Islam's a problem, and it's very difficult for people to admit that. It's very difficult for people to say that because you're branded an Islamophobe straight away, and it's almost this wall to stop freedom of speech. So it's important that I speak about it because I was a product of that background. You know, it's not Islamophobia when you're highlighting intolerance, when you're highlighting violence against women, when you're highlighting the murder of innocent people purely because they're different from you. And I guess it's to wake people up to go, look, this could come to your back door. Look, if you're not wise to it, you know, you have a responsibility. If you believe in the freedoms, if you want to live in a free and democratic country, don't allow that freedom and democracy to be used to supplant it. You can't make deals with hatred. You can't go, okay, we will submit virtually this much and they'll be happy. You have to go, this is not acceptable.
אני רוצה לפנות לסטודנטים היקרים, הנוצרים האמיתיים באמריקה, שאתם צריכים להיות השליחים של אלוהים, של השליחים של האמת.
And if we don't stand up for it, who's going to? Israel is being targeted, and that's how it starts, this brainwashing and hatred, and then you have the Mohammed Miras in the world who go out and shoot a Jewish family. Because that's how it starts. When you spread lies, when you spread hatred, that's the path that takes people down. No good comes from hatred, it's poisonous. It affects the hated and it affects the hater. I know, because I was one of those people. I had that hatred, and I would not change a single second, a single nanosecond of what I did and the choices I made, because my life is so much better without hatred. And what we're talking about is stopping hatred. We're talking about freedom, we're talking about democracy, and more importantly, we're talking about doing what's right on a very base level, because whether you believe in a God or not, whether you believe in a faith or not, we are all accountable for what we do. If it's not to a higher power, it's to our kids or to ourselves. And I don't want anybody here to look back in your final days and go, I could have done better. Because when you're silent and you know, you're complicit. And you have to be part of the solution. And I'm going to finish with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. He went, "Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are." Today you're unaffected, but if you don't do something, tomorrow you will be affected. And who is going to be outraged with you? Thank you very much.